It's Leslie Denny, and thanks for joining me on Leslie Denny Fitness on the YouTube channel. And don't forget, if for gosh sakes you haven't subscribed, please do so and share this with others if it's something that you're really enjoying. This is a chair yoga class today. It's going to be a lengthened one. We originally did first, it's more like rebuilding for the upper body and the shoulders. And the first one that we did of this series is 30 minutes long. And it's going to be set in a separate playlist if you haven't looked at the selection of videos out there. Chair yoga for shoulders is what its identifier is. Now, as a suggestion from a dear friend of mine, I've gone ahead and renumbered the videos. So if you're keeping count of what you've been doing, it'll be easier for you to do so. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to take what we did from that 30-minute class and expand upon it. The same rules all apply. If you feel like something's not feeling right, then dial back because you're the one who's in control. The other thing is that if you feel like you've got you're not sure if you can do this class, your healthcare professional is the person who can tell you, not me. And then the last thing that you want to look for is 24 to 48 hours after. Do you feel pain? Is there anything that's going on that you may want to get some assistance with, again, from your healthcare professional, or dial back on the next round? So those are the things that we're looking for. There's going to be some repetition from what we did in the first 30-minute class if you're going into this series. So be prepared for that. Have a bottle of water as well as any kind of maybe an essential oil. If you want to play some music, then feel free to have that handy as well. So what I wanted to read you today, I was flipping through my Bhagavad Gita. This is the Eknath Eswaran version, and it's my favorite of all of them. And I just happened to flip the page open, and this is what popped up, which was perfect. Hello? It is not those who lack energy or refrain from action, but those who work without expectation of reward who attain the goal of meditation. Theirs is true renunciation. Therefore, Arjuna, you should understand that renunciation and the performance of selfless service are the same. Those who cannot renounce attachment to the results of their work are far from the path. This really resonated with me because when we move into any type of practice, job, mission in life, if we are completely attached to the outcome, we really miss the gifts that unfold from doing it. So for your practice today, have no attachment to how you're going to feel afterwards, especially. Just see what happens and see what starts to open up. If there's certain movements that you want to continue to do, feel free to do those because this is your time. So let's come to a comfortable seated posture. Remember, if you're on a wooden floor, you definitely want to put a mat underneath your chair. The most support is to sit all the way to the back part of the chair, feet flat on the mat. If you've got that challenge of getting your feet all the way to the mat because maybe you picked too tall of a chair today, then feel free to use a block or a very big book underneath your feet. And then just relax yourself into your seat and close your eyes. And just take a few deep breaths. Good. And then resting the hands towards your legs, we're going to begin cat-cow flow, Chakravakasana. So on the inhale, lift the chest up, and exhale, roll the shoulders forward. Now you can hold on to the sides of your chair if that gives you a little bit more stability in the flow. And we will have, again, some repetition from what we did in the 30-minute session. This session is going to run about close to 60 minutes long. So if you feel like you're getting fatigued or feel uncomfortable at any time, just dial back and maybe make a marker at the minutes and then pick it up at that same point moving forward the next time when you've gotten a little bit of recovery. And then just keep moving through that flow nice and easy. We are stretching through the pectoralis muscles, and in the upper back, the rhomboids and the latissimus dorsi are the prominent muscles that we're working with. And we're also going to inject a few hip stretches in this practice today because everything is connected. So when you're talking about trying to release tension in the shoulder area, there is nothing better than to do some hip stretches. It really helps a lot. So let's work through one more flow just like that. And then bring the back to a very upright spine. And then place the right hand to the top of your left knee and just give yourself that real gentle rotation. The mindful thing here is to not roll the spine. You want to try to keep very straight through the spine as you're turning. Your spine doesn't like that movement of turning and kind of bending. And then release and switch it to the other side. Now we're going to flow that. On the inhale, lengthen and rotate. And then exhale, you're moving your way to the opposite direction. Inhale, lengthen and rotate. Exhale, move it to the other side. And you're going to start to feel a little bit of energy flow. When we do chair yoga, it's a little different because we're not doing necessarily in this particular format sun salutations or getting up a lot from our chair to start with. So it's important to be able to do things that will increase the circulation in your body so your body is a little bit more amenable to doing movements to open things up. And then just do it one more time to close that series. And then when you come back, you'll be going right back into your cat-cow flow. Inhale, lift, and exhale. Round it out. Good. And then go ahead and bring it back to neutral. Now, the first thing that we're going to be doing is drawing the elbows in. Again, we have some repetition from the 30-minute session if you did that one. If you're feeling a lot of restriction in the shoulders, drop the elbows lower. On the inhale, open up, and exhale, close. Now, notice that I am starting to really contract through those upper back muscles. So if I turn to the side, you'll see that there's that chest lift, squeezing of the shoulder blades together, and then really not so much rounding the upper back, but just really concentrating on stretching through the upper chest and contracting through those upper back muscles. We're going to do that a few more times. By lifting the elbows over time, if you can keep those elbows up to about shoulder height, but no higher. On this series, you don't want to go up this high because that creates a real impingement concern. You just want to feel your body real energetic, kind of getting warmed up. And we're spending a lot of time on the warm-up. I don't have any other props for today, no straps, but on the next session we'll be incorporating our strap to work into some movements. So I'll give you a heads up on that in the instructions when you take a look at the video. Good. And then one more. So you should have a little trapezius fatigue across the tops of your shoulders right here. So take the hands towards your knees, then dip a shoulder in, and then really work to open it up. We did this in the 30-minute session. Good. And as you roll that shoulder in towards the opposite knee, again, think about stretching into those lat muscles in the lower upper back. And your breathing is whatever feels comfortable for you. Good. Then come to that upright seated posture. With the next movement, lifting up through that left arm, draw that elbow out to the side and back. Then lift it back up and draw it down and back and out to the side. So I'm really focused on one shoulder at a time. That's coming into 4 times here. You're going to do 4 more, so you'll do 8 on each side. Inhaling, reach up. Exhale to pull it down and back. You got 3 more on this side. Something else I want you to notice is I'm not turning into this. I'm keeping the chest facing forward, and that's what really equates to this pec stretch right here in the front of the shoulder. And one more here. Good. Then release. Reach up with the opposite arm. Take a deep inhale. Exhale. Bring that elbow down and back and stretch into that shoulder. Now for some, if you're really working at a recovery of sorts into that upper body, you may not be able to get that arm all the way up or even bring it down and back very far, but that's okay. One of the most important things that we have to remember is, like our Gita intro, don't have any attachment to what you think should be happening. Just pretty much explore and witness what is happening. And I think over time you'll notice that things start to change. Good. And 3 more here. Now we'll double up the arms with the next one. So as you exhale, bring it back. Then with the next inhale, reach both arms up. Exhale, squeeze through that upper back. Notice if you're feeling any tension in the back of the neck. It's common for many of us to start to lift the chin out and up, but I really want you to work at keeping that head neutral so that you're not feeling that tension. In other words, the tension is in the upper back and through the front of the shoulders in the chest. Then one more here, and then release. Grab onto your chair, squeeze those shoulder blades together, lift that chest out and up, pull the belly in. That supports the low back so well. Good. And then just release into a forward fold. Let your head hang. Good. And then round the back and roll it up. Excellent. Now we're going to take one arm across the chest and stretch through that shoulder. Now this is going to take a broader range of motion. So if it doesn't feel good to you, you're in control. Just hold it right here. Otherwise, reach that arm up and circle it all the way out to the side. Then stretch it up and use that opposite hand to aid into that shoulder stretch. Now notice that I am giving a rotation this time. I'm keeping that spine very elongated and straight. I'm not In other words, I'm not rounding my back. And your spine likes rotations. It's very energetic. And one more here. And then release that hand down to the mat. Now, if you reach the arms up, you're going to notice that that one arm that you just did probably feels a little bit longer because you're opening space throughout the shoulder capsule. So we're going to do that to the opposite side. Just draw that arm across, feel that stretch into the upper arm and the shoulder. Let's take a couple of breaths. Good. And here we go. Inhaling, lift that arm up, turn a little bit, and then exhale, bring it back up and around. Then inhale, reach it up, open, and exhale, up and rotate. Stay strong through those abdominals. So you may feel like your body's getting a little bit warmer. It's not overly dramatic, but you know what? For some people, this much motion is a lot of motion. 2 more to go. And 1 more. And then release it. Good. Inhale, lift the chest, exhale, round the back. Good. So we should feel a little bit warmer now. And now we're going to work into a little bit of a hip stretch. 2 of them, actually. One for the hip flexors, and then another one for the outer hips, kind of targeting through the piriformis a little bit, and also kind of aiding the muscles that affect the IT band. And all of that stuff, when it starts to get relaxed, it really affects that upper body well. So bringing it back to neutral, the first thing that we're going to do is that hip flexor stretch. So you're going to turn to your side and just go ahead and drop that outer leg down. I'm curling my toe under and I'm sliding that foot back. Then I'm going to hold on to the back of my chair with the opposite hand and reach that arm up and over and just encourage that hip forward. This is why we did a lot of the shoulder openings, so that you could hopefully get that arm up. If you can't, just feel free to hold on to your chair at any location and just focus on bringing that hip forward. And just give it about 2 more breaths. And then release from there, and we'll switch it off to the other side. So as you turn, slide that foot back, and then reach that arm up and over. If you're not comfortable there, just hold on to your chair. Sometimes what we'll suggest in some of our classes is that if you want to drop that knee down but it doesn't make it all the way down to the ground, gosh, you could place a book underneath it or a block to be able to give yourself a little extra support. And just 2 more breaths. And then release from there and bring it forward. So the next stretch is for those hips, and we're just crossing one ankle over the other thigh. I usually tell folks that maybe if this is uncomfortable, you could also place a block to the outside of your foot and rest the outer edge of your heel to it, and that'll give you a little bit more stretch. So if you're comfortable going here, just cross that ankle over, lengthen up through your spine, and lean forward. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, this does it every time. And in fact, when I'm working at my desk for a long period of time, which I am right now, I'm doing a lot of desk work, then this just really pays off. And just keep that spine lengthened. So I'll turn to the side so that you can see that as well. And I'm just staying nice, straight, flat back. The other thing that you might want to notice is for the foot that's crossed over the thigh, I'm keeping that foot flexed. So I'm pointing the toes up and in. Give it about 3 more breaths. Good. And then release from there and switch it off to the other side. One side typically is always tighter. And especially if you've had a shoulder injury on one side or the other or a strain, usually that hip is also tight because it starts to take a lot of the load for you. What I'm doing is I'm encouraging my knee open a little bit because I'm pretty tight on this side. Just allow yourself to really stretch in. Good. And then release from there. Nice. Shoulder circles up and around. And then we're going to incorporate a little bit more work into that upper back. The more loose the muscles are towards the upper back, that gives a lot more space for the shoulders to go to work. And then we're also going to be doing a stretch that we did in our 30-minute program. Again, remember this is building. So from here, you're going to reach one arm up, and I've got my left arm reaching up, and I'm going to, like I'm pointing to the right corner of the room, and I'm just going to stretch and point. Now remember, if it feels like you can't hold it for very long, it's okay. But this really gets into the lats, the latissimus dorsi, and it also helps get close to allowing some space for the quadratus lumborum muscles. And then release from there. Good. Reaching that right arm up and over and pointing towards that left corner and stretching. Good. And then release from there. Now, if you remember this stretch, if you did the 30-minute session, you're going to take your left hand and just kind of pull down on that upper right part of your chest. Lift the chin, direct it away, and just feel that stretch open up through the neck. And I think we didn't do the hand pull, but we might have. This is one of my favorite stretches for the throat. So as my left hand is pressing to the upper right portion of my shoulder, the chin lifts up, chin goes out, and then the head turns to the left direction. And then release. We'll do it to the other side. Just press that right hand to the upper left chest, push in and pull down, then lift the chin up, chin goes out, and then the head is turning towards that upper right corner. And then release from there. Good. Let's go ahead and drop the chin to the chest, roll it over to one side, and then chin to chest, roll it to the other, and do that a few more times. Good. So in creating space, which is something we think about when we're thinking about opening up certain areas where we may be feeling tension, then one of the areas for the shoulder is the trapezius muscles here. So as you bring the chin to the chest, roll the left ear towards the left shoulder, and then just point down with that right hand, and you'll feel that stretch right across the top of that shoulder. It's another marvelous stretch for me. Good. And then release, chin to chest. Roll that right ear to the right shoulder, and then point down with that left hand. And just keep stretching. Good. And then release from there. Shoulder circles up and around. Good. Then as you draw the arms behind you, clasp onto the back of your chair, squeeze the shoulder blades together and lift that chest out and up. Good. And then bring it back to neutral. The next movement that we're going to be going into is to reach the arms up and over and then bring them back, but leaning forward. This starts to incorporate a lot more strength that's being required in the upper back. And I'm going to turn to the side so you can see it. So as I reach the arms up, I'm taking a deep inhale here. Exhale, draw the elbows down and back and lean forward. Then inhale, reach up. And exhale, lean in. When I'm doing this, notice that I'm keeping my neck neutral. That means I'm not dropping the head down. I'm not lifting the chin up. I'm just keeping it right in line with the spine and the upper back and the lower back. Good. And just one more here. And then release from there. So we're going to move into a good old warrior two. So you're going to step that right foot out, draw the arms out from the shoulders. And you're just your gaze point is right off of that right hand. And then inhaling, reach the arms up. Exhale, draw them out to the shoulders. Inhaling, reach up. And exhale, out from the shoulders. And we'll do that 4 more times. And just keep flowing. 2 more times. And 1 more time from here. Good. And then draw it back to center. And we're going to step that left foot out. I'm going to get my stuff out of the way here because I got a lot of junk. And then reach the arms out from the shoulders. And just gaze point off of that left hand now. And then when you're ready, inhaling, reach up. Exhale, draw those arms out from the shoulders. Feel the movement and notice how your body's responding to the movement. Four more flows from here, if that's comfortable for you. If it's not, feel free to just hold it right where you are. And 2 more. And 1 more here. Good. And then release and draw those feet together. roll those shoulders up and around. So I'm bringing them up towards my ears, but I'm rolling them back and really working into that upper back musculature. And then we're going to do that trap stretch again because it will feel good to interject that type of a stretch while you're doing these other poses that are causing a little bit of stress there. So go ahead and roll the chin to the chest, left ear towards the left shoulder, and point down with that right hand to feel that stretch. And then slowly release from there. Then chin to chest, roll it to the opposite side, and then point down with that left hand. Good. And then release from there. So as we step the right foot open, you're going to graze that right forearm to the thigh and roll that left shoulder open. If you're comfortable going there, sweep that arm out and just open up through the chest. And this is all about range of motion, whatever feels good to you. See if you can reach that arm up higher. The higher the arm or the hand goes with that lengthened arm, the more tension we're going to feel into that shoulder pocket. So just go where you can and make little readjustments if you have to. And then slowly release and switch it to the other side. So as I step out that left foot, I'm resting my left arm, and then I'm just going to reach that arm out, opening up through the shoulder, and then stretch the arm up if I'm comfortable to go there. Remember, one side can feel a lot more tension than the other, so be very observant. Remember, with non-attachment, aparigraha, one of my favorite yamas in our sutras. And just take 2 more breaths. And then release from there. Good. Go ahead and come back to your seated posture. We're going to go right back to the kind of more of the Piriformis stretch. So crossing that right ankle over the left thigh, lean forward just to the point of gentle resistance. Now, over time, we're going to increase the intensity of this if it's comfortable for you and offer a few other little options. But for right now, this is the second in this series for shoulders and upper body, we're building. And then release from there and switch it to the other side. Good. And then release the feet to the mat. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, round the back. Good. Drawing the elbows in. And for some folks, touching the elbows is tricky, so just do the best that you can. Inhaling, lift. Exhaling, close in. We're doing a little bit different motion. Lift and lower, up and in. Remember what we said about that shoulder impingement. You just want to go as high as shoulder height with the elbows. And if you can't get up to shoulder height with the elbows, it's okay. You're just kind of observing One of the really great things to do when you're doing these practices is to keep a journal if you're in recovery and jot down the things that you notice that are a little bit more achievement on the achievement side, and then the things that are a little bit more of a struggle, like something that's more challenging for you. And what we usually find over time that as we start to jot and collect the data for those things, it flags our memory banks so that we can see where we're making steps. Good. And one more. Good. Now draw the elbows and the hands together. This is a big stretch for the upper back. Try to keep the elbows touching all the way and just lift until you start to feel a little bit of a shimmy. You don't want to feel tension in the back of your neck, so that will guard how high you go. But we are going to hold this for about 3 or 4 breaths. Steady range. Good. And then release the hands. That is a big power movement. So that actually helps build strength. So round those shoulders up and around. Good. We're going to start dialing down for this particular practice today. It'll probably run about 45 minutes, but we did a lot in this practice today. So the important thing is when you're building, you don't want to push too far too hard. That typically happens when we're in recovery from anything or if we've had an injury. And so you want to go gradually so that everything feels just right to you. Good. Rest the hands towards your knees. Drop that left shoulder towards the right knee and then lift up and alternate. Good. And just keep stretching. Good. And then bring it back up. Stretch it to that other side. Right shoulder towards the left knee and lift up. Then bring that arm out. And remember to empty the can. If you did the 30-minute session, I want you to hold on to that can, empty it out, and bring it back. With the first round, we talked a lot about the fact that your range of motion may be kind of narrow here. So see if you can really empty out every drop out of the can and then rock it back forth like that, almost like you're going to empty it out behind in that back rotation. And again, keeping those arms no higher than shoulder height. If you can't get to shoulder height, it's okay. Anything works as long as it's in the range of what is comfortable for you. Good. And then release and switch it over to the other side. Empty out and rock it back. With the repetition of some of these things that we're doing throughout our practice, you'll probably start to see a difference, a change, where it gets more comfortable from time to time. Just keep emptying it from the front and then to the back. Good. And just one more time. And then release. So now we're going to try eagle arms. So if you're not comfortable with eagle arms, then your alternative is just to draw the elbows as close as you can. See if you can stack the left elbow on top of the right, intertwine the arms, and then from here, draw those arms away from the back body. We're not working on lifting the elbows at this point. We're just trying to get the connection of elbow on top of elbow and then encouraging those arms away from the body so that it stretches into this upper back body. Because remember, where we create space, the rest of the body can start to breathe a little better. Honest to goodness, that's kind of the way I see it. And then release from there and switch it to the other side. So right elbow on top of left at any height that's best for you. Then draw the arms away from the body. Don't worry about lifting the elbows at this point. We just want to kind of bring them away from the body so that we really feel that stretch into the upper back. Good. And then release from there. Draw the hands behind you, clasp the back of your chair, and just pull those shoulders back. Good. And then release from there. Let's come to a comfortable seated posture and just close your eyes. If you'd rather lie down on your mat, or perhaps you'd rather hit it back into an easy chair, whatever feels good to you, feel free to bring yourself into that comfortable posture. As we start to close this practice down, we'll have another one coming up really quickly. So come to a comfortable seated posture and just close your eyes and take a deep breath. That sounded kind of bad. That's better. And without attachment, without expectation, just feel that easy breath moving through your body. And then just keep dialing down for the next few moments. And when it's time to come back, I'll come for you. Open your eyes and take a deep breath. And just observe how you feel. When we don't have expectations for outcomes, then for the most part, it's all good. So let's draw our hands to heart center. Lokaha. Samistaha Suki no Bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy, free, and at peace. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you ever have any questions, please feel free to post a comment. I tackle that usually every 24 hours or more. So just feel free to give me a shout. And in the meantime, have a fabulous day.